I've photographed this lake for over 20 years, but this evening it feels like I'm standing here for the first time. Something changed on the other side of the world, and I didn't notice it until I came back to the one place I know better than any other. I'm still unpacking. Jet lag keeps its own schedule, and mine is not caught up yet. After 3 weeks in Vietnam, there was only one place I wanted to go. Not because it is famous, not because it is dramatic, because it has history. And lately, I've been thinking a great deal about mine. This particular stretch of shoreline has been one of my favorite places for years. Long before it had anything to do with work. Most evenings, I don't even bring a camera down here at all. I just sit on these rocks and watch the light change. That has always been enough on its own. Home is a strange way of pretending nothing changed while you were away. The same coffee mug, the same road into town, the same mountains outside the kitchen window. Everything exactly where I left it, except I wasn't. Travel has a quiet way of doing that. It changes the traveler long before it changes the destination. Here's something photographers rarely say out loud. The place you have photographed the most is often the place you have stopped truly seeing. 20 years of driving past this location will do this to a person. Familiarity doesn't sharpen attention. It dulls it, quietly. One ordinary evening at a time, until a lake this beautiful becomes wallpaper. The danger is not that the place becomes ordinary. The danger is that we stop asking it questions. We stop wondering what the light might do tonight. We stop noticing the shape of the clouds. We stop seeing small changes because our mind quietly tells us, I've already seen this. Photography doesn't disappear. Curiosity does. When you travel somewhere new, you notice everything. The light, the smell of the street, the sound of a language you don't speak, the rhythm of people walking around you, the way the afternoon light falls across a doorway you've never seen before. Everything feels alive because everything is unfamiliar. Then you come home. Your mind quietly decides, I've seen this before. Maybe you have, but you've never seen today. Not this light, not this wind, not these reflections, not this sky. These moments have never existed before. And after tonight, they never will again. This is the assumption I want to challenge tonight. New places do not produce better photographs. Attention does. Attention can disappear at home, just as easily as it can be discovered on the other side of the world. Places do not become ordinary. Our attention does. Vietnam did not make me a better photographer. It changed what I paid attention to. 3 weeks ago, the Tu Bon River in Hoi An, I stood watching the lantern boats drift slowly through the evening. Tourists all around me were photographing the lanterns. And they should have been. They are beautiful. Warm colors drifting across dark water. Exactly the kind of scene photographers travel halfway around the world to capture. But after a while, I stopped looking at the lanterns. I found myself watching everything around them. The boatmen waiting quietly for another passenger. The reflections breaking apart every time an oar slipped beneath the surface. A conversation between two strangers who would never meet again after that evening. The silence that somehow existed in the middle of all that movement. I realized I wasn't taking photos of lantern boats anymore. I was photographing moments, small ones, ordinary ones, the kind that disappear forever a few seconds later. Vietnam slowed me down in ways I never expected. Not because life moved slowly, quite the opposite. Everything moved quickly. The only way I could make photographs was to become still myself. I had to stop chasing photographs, and I had to let them arrive instead. Standing here tonight at a lake I could almost photograph with my eyes closed, I find myself doing exactly the same thing. Watching before shooting, waiting before deciding, looking before composing. The location changed completely. The process never changed at all. So here's the plan, and here's the reason behind every part of it. Vertical, not horizontal. A vertical frame turns these pilings into a procession leading your eye towards the horizon, instead of simply becoming another line across the lake. These front pilings, because they carry the most visible history. They lean, they're weathered unevenly. Time has left its fingerprints on each one differently. They're imperfect, which is exactly why they hold my attention. A foreground of rounded stone close to the lens. because every photograph needs somewhere for the eye to begin before asking it to travel towards the distance. Foreground, subject, background, a journey, not a glance. And finally, a long exposure. Because the small chop moving across the lake right now is competing with the pilings for attention. It will continue competing until the shutter stays open long enough to simplify the scene. Somewhere between 5, 20 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. However long it takes for the water to stop looking like water and begin looking like silence. An ND filter is what gets me there. It blocks most of the light reaching the sensor. That means the shutter has to stay open much longer to gather the same exposure. The technique is simple. The order is where most photographers make the mistake. Sunset doesn't wait, so I always meter the scene first. No filter, just the light exactly as it exists. Once I know the correct exposure, only then does the filter go on. Then I calculate the new shutter speed. Meter first, filter second, shutter last. Reverse that order, and the fading light will outrun you every single time. Tonight isn't about dramatic skies or colorful clouds. The photograph lives somewhere else, out there, in these weathered pilings still standing against the wind. In fact, I've been thinking about black and white, not because there's no color, but because mood has become more important than color. One composition, not 10. The discipline isn't finding more angles. The discipline is choosing the one that's worthy of the light you're about to spend. 20 years has taught me something. Better photographs usually don't come from walking another 100 meters. More often, they come from standing still another 10 minutes. These pilings used to hold up something, a dock, a purpose, long since gone. Now, they hold up nothing but themselves. Weathered, forgotten by most everyone except for the people who fish this shoreline, and the occasional photographer willing to wait for the right evening. No longer useful in the way that they were built to be useful, and still beautiful. For years, that was enough. Old wood, interesting texture, a strong foreground, a photograph waiting for the right light. Tonight, I see something different. Standing here, I realize the pilings are no longer reminding me of old docks. They're reminding me of myself. I'm 58 years old. For most of my life, I measured time by calendars, birthdays, careers, and deadlines, always believing there would be another season. Now I measure it differently, by how many mountains these legs can still carry me up, how many mornings curiosity gets me out of bed before the alarm, how many countries I can still wander through with a camera over my shoulder. The truth is, none of us know which photograph becomes our last, which journey becomes our last, which ordinary sunrise quietly becomes the one we remember. That isn't depressing. If anything, it's freeing, because it reminds me that someday is the most dangerous word we ever give ourselves. These pilings have stood through storms, through winters, through years of changing water levels. Time hasn't defeated them, it's revealed them. Every crack, every scar, every season, written into the grain. Maybe that's what happens to people too. Age doesn't take away who we are. It slowly uncovers us. I'm not leaving because I stopped loving this place. I'm leaving because I still can. Because these legs still carry me. Because curiosity still wakes me before the alarm clock does. Because I'd rather look back on the places I went than spend the rest of my life wondering about the places I didn't. These pilings aren't telling me life is ending. They're reminding me that life keeps moving, and I intend to keep moving with it for as long as I possibly can. I've spent decades photographing this valley. Soon, I'll be leaving it. Sitting here tonight, on the same rocks I've sat on for years, one thought keeps returning. This might be the last time I ever photograph this place. Not because something is wrong, not because I'm forced to leave, because life has chapters, and somewhere along the way, I realized I was holding on to one, simply because it had become familiar. This won't be the last photograph I make here, but I know there aren't as many first evenings left as there used to be. The plan hasn't changed. Sell the house, begin a new chapter in Southeast Asia, return to Vietnam, keep the legs strong enough to climb mountains, keep the curiosity sharp enough to keep asking questions, because curiosity might be the youngest part of us. No dramatic reveal tonight. Just the shutter open for however many seconds it takes for this water to go as still on the sensor as it already looks in my eye. Vietnam taught me something I wasn't expecting. The best photographs don't happen because you travel farther. They happen when you finally slow down long enough to see. Everything I walked through tonight, why one composition beats 10, why the frame gets built before the shutter even opens, is the exact kind of thinking behind my intentional landscape ebook. If tonight's approach is new to you, that's where I break it down in full. The link is in the description. If tonight's approach changed how you see a place that you thought you already knew, hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you for staying through to the end. That kind of attention is actually what keeps a channel like this one going. The light doesn't wait, and neither should we.